Imagine this. Your entire life suddenly revolves around hospital appointments.
Yeah.
3 days a week, 4 hours each time. You're hooked up to a machine, needles, just this bone-deep fatigue afterwards.
It's not hypothetical, is it? That's the reality for millions relying on dialysis.
Exactly. And often that's the end result when your kidneys start to struggle.
These silent heroes, right? Fist-sized, working constantly.
Filtering your blood 60 times a day,
Yeah.
processing over 200 liters. It's incredible.
Absolutely. But when they can't keep up, toxins build. Risk of heart disease, stroke, it all goes up.
And eventually kidney failure, dialysis, or maybe a transplant becomes necessary. And what's really alarming based on the source material we're looking at today is that most people, maybe 90%, don't even notice symptoms until the final stages.
Which is scary.
Yeah.
It leads us right to the main question for this deep dive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Could supporting your kidneys, maybe avoiding that fate, actually come from something?
Yeah.
Well, surprisingly simple.
Something you might already have right there in your kitchen.
Possibly.
So today we're exploring 8 natural drinks that the source material highlights as potentially supporting kidney health, maybe offering some protection.
Right. We'll look at what the sources say is in them, how they supposedly work, how you might prepare them.
And crucially, the precautions, the things you absolutely need to know.
Definitely. And just to be really clear up front, everything we discuss today is pulled directly from the source materials provided.
We're just presenting what's in those documents. No added opinions, no bias.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sticking to the info given.
Okay, let's dive in then. First up, the source material mentions apple juice.
Right.
You might just think of it as, a sweet drink. But what does the source suggest is its main potential benefit for kidneys?
Well, the source really points to its high water content. That's key.
Simple hydration.
Fundamentally, yes. It helps flush toxins, keeps you hydrated. Dehydration forces your kidneys to work harder, concentrate urine.
Which can lead to damage over time, right?
Precisely. But beyond just water, the notes also mention specific things in apple juice.
Like what?
Phytochemicals, vitamin C, and fibers, like pectin.
Okay, and how are those supposed to help?
The sources frame these as fighting oxidative stress. They describe that as a major kidney threat.
Oxidative stress, like internal resting on the cells.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
The antioxidants are said to neutralize the free radicals causing that damage. And fiber helps digestion, which indirectly takes some load off the kidneys.
Makes sense. And I think I saw something in the notes about kidney stones, too.
You did. Kidney stones affect, about 10% of people? And the source points out they can increase dialysis risk.
Okay.
So the notes mention a study. Healthy women drank apple juice daily for 5 days.
And the result?
The source says it showed a decreased likelihood of forming certain types of stones.
Interesting. So a potential preventative angle there.
According to the source, yes. But importantly, it's not about drinking gallons of this stuff.
Right, there have to be cautions.
Absolutely critical. The source really emphasizes moderation, especially with store-bought juices because of added sugars.
High sugar is bad news for blood glucose, especially for diabetics.
Exactly. And diabetics are already more vulnerable to kidney problems. The recommendation is really to make fresh juice at home if you can.
Organic, maybe.
Ideally, yes. And the notes suggest maybe drinking it in the morning for better nutrient absorption.
Okay. The source also briefly mentions apple cider vinegar, ACV. What's the link?
Well, it's fermented from apples, so the notes suggest ACV might offer some extra protection.
How so?
It's said to help neutralize oxidative stress, potentially balance blood sugar, sort of echoing the apple juice benefits.
Okay.
There's even some mention of evidence suggesting it could help dissolve existing kidney stones, but the source doesn't present that as, definitive proof.
Right. And if someone wanted to try ACV based on what the source says...
The guidance is pretty clear. Choose a good quality organic brand. Start small.
How small?
Maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons mixed with water daily. See how your body feels. Okay. There's a practical tip in the notes too. Mix it the night before, water, ACV, maybe some apple slices or mint for flavor, in a bottle.
So it's ready to go in the morning.
Exactly. The source implies this kind of simple habit could be a small step towards supporting kidney health.
Okay, let's move on. What's the next drink on the list from the source material?
Cranberry juice.
Classic UTI fighter.
Well, yes, but the source notes highlight compounds like salicylic acid, quatrenic acid, and these things called procyanidins.
And what do those do, according to the source?
The emphasis is on their anti-inflammatory properties. Reducing inflammation is apparently a big deal when kidneys aren't healthy.
So, fighting inflammation. Does the source mention other kidney-specific benefits? Or anything related to dialysis risk?
Yes, 2 key things mentioned in the sources. First, as you said, UTIs, urinary tract infections.
Which can be serious if they spread.
Right? They can reach the kidneys, cause permanent damage, scarring, leading to reduced function over time.
And cranberries help how?
The procyanidins are specifically highlighted. They're said to stop bacteria from sticking to the urinary tract walls.
Preventing the infection from taking hold and moving up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Blocking it before it potentially reaches the kidneys.
That's quite a clear mechanism described there. What was the second point?
Blood pressure. The sources actually call hypertension a leading cause of kidney destruction.
Wow.
High pressure damages those tiny blood vessels inside the kidneys, impairs filtering, waste builds up. It speeds up the progression towards failure and dialysis.
And cranberry might help.
The notes suggest regular consumption may help keep blood pressure in check.
Okay, so potential benefits. Anti-inflammatory, UTI prevention, maybe some blood pressure support. What about downsides or caveats from the source for cranberry juice?
There's an important one, especially concerning kidney stones.
Oh.
While the sources suggest it might help prevent certain types, like brushite stones,
Okay.
they also caution it could increase the risk for other types, specifically oxalate and uric acid stones.
So it's a bit of a balancing act.
It really underscores that theme of moderation. The notes suggest maybe 120 to 240 milliliters daily, that's about half a cup to a cup, as potentially beneficial without excessive risk.
And choosing the right kind of juice. Any tips from the source?
Oh, definitely. A strong recommendation for 100% pure, unsweetened cranberry juice.
Not the cocktail stuff.
Exactly. Avoid those cranberry cocktails, often full of sugar, very little actual juice.
And if it's too tart?
The source suggests diluting it with filtered water, maybe adding herbs like mint instead of sugar.
Okay.
And for people with a history of UTIs or stones, there's mention of potentially having a glass in the morning and evening as a kind of round-the-clock protective strategy.
One last crucial point the source brings up.
Yes, medication interactions. This is important.
Like what?
The note specifically warned that cranberries can interact with blood thinners. Warfarin is mentioned by name.
So if you're on that kind of medication,
The source strongly advises, talk to your doctor before adding cranberry juice regularly. Really important. Okay, good warning. Now, this next one, the source material seems to put a really big emphasis on beet juice.
yes, it does.
What's the key takeaway there, according to the source?
The secret, according to the source, seems to be its inorganic nitrate content.
Inorganic nitrate.
Yeah, and this compound is strongly linked to blood pressure regulation, which again, the source calls the kidney enemy number 1.
So it directly targets that major threat. How does the nitrate actually do that, based on the source?
Well, the source explains that this nitrate from beets helps relax and widen blood vessels.
Oh, vasodilation.
Exactly. Improves blood flow, reduces the pressure on those delicate kidney structures.
Is there any evidence mentioned?
The notes point to a clinical study involving 60 adults who already had kidney disease.
Okay.
And consuming beet juice reportedly led to reduced blood pressure by improving how their blood vessels functioned.
So for anyone worried about kidney failure, the source seems to frame this as potentially quite significant.
That's the implication, yes. That does sound like a powerful mechanism. How do people usually prepare or drink beet juice, according to the source?
Making it at home is presented as simple. Chop beets, run them through a juicer, or you can blend them with water and then strain the pulp out.
What if you don't like that earthy taste?
The source suggests adding things like ginger, apple, or even just a few lemon drops for flavor. Diluting it with apple juice is another option mentioned.
And when's the best time to drink it?
The notes suggest maybe in the morning, about 30 minutes before breakfast, or perhaps as an afternoon pick-me-up.
And how much?
A standard serving is described as around 150 to 200 milliliters daily. But the source also notes that even just 2 or 3 times a week might offer benefits.
What about people on dialysis? They often have fluid restrictions.
Yes, the source has a specific tip for that. It suggests trying a smaller amount, maybe just 60 milliliters of concentrated beet juice, mixed into their allowed fluids.
Because the nitrates are still effective even in smaller doses.
That's what the source indicates, yes, the concentration helps.
I saw an unusual tip in the source material about pairing beets with dairy. What was that about?
Yeah, that was interesting. The notes suggest this combination might actually enhance the absorption of certain compounds in the beets.
Really? Like what?
They give examples like beetroot with cottage cheese, maybe feta cheese in a salad, or even just having a cheese sandwich alongside your beet juice.
Just presented as a simple way to potentially boost the benefits.
Seems so, yes.
Are there any specific warnings for beet juice mentioned in the source?
Two main things. First, beets contain oxalates and purines.
Which could be an issue for kidney stones.
Potentially, yes. If you have a history of certain types of kidney stones, that's a flag.
And the second?
Yes. The source is very clear. Don't panic if your urine turns reddish after drinking it.
It's not blood.
No, absolutely not. It's just harmless, natural pigments, betalins, I think they're called, passing through. The source explicitly says your kidneys are fine.
Okay, that's reassuring. Good to know. Moving on to number 5, lemon juice. Very common kitchen staple. What does the source say about this one?
The source describes lemon juice as a kind of natural kidney cleanser.
A cleanser.
Yeah. The idea suggested in the notes is that starting the morning with warm lemon water is like sending a gentle cleanup crew to support the kidney's filtering job.
Okay. And what is it in lemon juice that makes it beneficial, according to the source?
It seems to be primarily the citric acid and something called hydroxycitrate, or HCA.
And what do those do?
The sources state these compounds are particularly effective at preventing kidney stones.
How?
They're said to stop minerals from sticking to existing stones and also help prevent new ones from forming in the first place.
That sounds significant, especially since stones can cause real damage.
Exactly. Pain, blockages, inflammation, all leading potentially to permanent kidney damage over time.
Does the source mention any research or specific amounts?
Yes. It references research suggesting that consuming about half a cup of lemon juice, concentrate diluted with water daily, could help. Or the juice of about 2 whole lemons. This apparently can increase urine citrate levels, which potentially lowers the risk of stones forming.
Is there a specific study mentioned?
There's mention of one involving patients with a history of calcium oxalate stones. Those who reportedly received lemon juice twice daily had fewer stone recurrences over 2 years compared to a control group.
Interesting. So how does the source suggest incorporating lemon juice into your daily routine?
The most common recommendation seems to be warm water with the juice of half a lemon first thing in the morning.
On an empty stomach?
Yes, about 20-30 minutes before eating. The source says this simple habit is thought to support not just the kidneys, but maybe the liver and digestive system too.
What if it's too sour for someone?
Adding a little honey or some mint leaves are suggested options. But the source strongly advises using fresh lemons.
Not the bottled stuff.
Right, because of preservatives and often added sugars. And another tip, use a straw or rinse your mouth with plain water afterwards.
To protect tooth enamel from the acid?
Exactly.
Does the source mention anything specific for people already on dialysis?
Yes, that was an interesting point in the notes. Dialysis patients often struggle with constipation.
Due to meds, diet, fluid limits?
Right. And the source suggests lemon juice might help stimulate digestive enzymes, offering some gentle relief without needing harsher laxatives.
So it sounds like consistency is really the key here.
Absolutely. The source definitely stresses that. A small amount daily is presented as more effective than, say, drinking a lot occasionally.
Making it a regular habit.
Like brushing your teeth, yeah. That's the analogy used a way to maintain consistent support.
Okay, next up at number 4 is lime juice. How does the source describe its role compared to lemon?
Very similar, actually. Lime juice, just like lemon, is highlighted for a citrate content.
So citrate again.
Yes. The source describes citrate from limes as another powerful fighter against kidney stones.
Using that same mechanism we just discussed.
Precisely. The source explains how citrate increases urine citrate levels and then binds to those calcium oxalate crystals,
stopping them from growing and clumping together.
Exactly. This protective action is what's said to help prevent stones from forming. The source even mentions studies, including something called a Cochrane review, confirming that citrate can effectively reduce stone size.
So for patients with recurring stones, the source suggests this could be really key in preventing that progressive kidney damage.
That might eventually lead to dialysis. Yes, that's the connection made.
Are there specific benefits mentioned in the source for dialysis patients when it comes to lime juice?
Yes, and it touches on a really crucial balance issue for them.
Which is?
Potassium. The source notes that lime juice provides vitamin C, polyphenols, flavonoids, all good stuff, but without excessive potassium.
And high potassium is a major problem for dialysis patients because their kidneys can't regulate it properly.
Exactly right. Many fruits are off limits for them because of potassium. So lime juice is presented as a potential way to get some immune support more safely.
Okay. How is lime juice best used, according to the source?
Well, making a simple just lime juice, water, maybe minimal sweetener is one suggestion.
Or adding it to food?
Yes, adding it to salads, marinades, seafood. The source suggests even just 1 medium lime daily can provide significant vitamin C and those kidney-supporting nutrients.
What if someone wants something less acidic?
Mixing lime juice with coconut water is recommended. The source even gives a specific recipe idea.
Oh, yeah.
Juice from 1 lime mixed with about 200 milliliters of unsweetened coconut water. Maybe add mint or ginger for flavor. This blend is said to reduce the tartness while adding beneficial electrolytes.
And again, for dialysis patients with those strict fluid limits, what's the advice?
The source really emphasizes being strategic. Don't waste your fluid allowance on large volumes.
So what's the alternative?
The recommendation is to add concentrated lime juice drops to your permitted water allowance.
So you get the potential benefits without exceeding those limits that could strain the heart between treatments.
Exactly. It's presented as a way to be smart about it.
It's fascinating how these small sort of strategic uses are highlighted in the source material, isn't it?
It really is. It shows it's often about targeted support, not necessarily massive quantities.
Okay, number 3 on the list from the sources, celery juice. This one's been quite trendy. What does the source material say specifically about it for kidney health?
Well, the source notes that while celery juice is popular, the human research directly supporting broad kidney cleansing from it is still described as somewhat limited.
Okay, so maybe not a magic bullet for cleansing?
Perhaps not definitively proven in that broad sense. However, the source does highlight that hypertension, high blood pressure, is the second leading cause of kidney failure globally.
Right, we keep coming back to blood pressure.
Because it's so damaging. When pressure stays high, it harms those tiny kidney vessels, eventually leading to dialysis.
And celery juice is suggested to help with blood pressure.
Yes, the source states that celery juice is noted for its potential to naturally lower blood pressure and also reduce cholesterol.
And support kidney function without side effects of some meds.
That's suggested, yes. The source points to a specific flavonoid in celery called apigenin.
Apigenin.
Yes, and research mentioned in the source suggests this compound may protect against kidney cell damage and reduce inflammation.
Okay, so while the big cleansing claim might lack strong source backing, the notes do connect it to potential blood pressure benefits and those anti-inflammatory compounds.
Exactly, that seems to be the focus. And the source also positions it as a low-potassium, nutrient-rich vegetable option.
Which fits into a kidney-friendly diet.
Right.
How is celery juice typically made or used based on the source notes?
Pretty straightforward. Cut up celery stalks, blend them with some water, and then strain it if you want just the pure juice.
Drink it fresh.
Immediately is best for maximum nutrients, the source says. You can add ginger, cucumber, mint, or lemon for variety if you like.
And if someone really doesn't like the taste, any tips from the source?
Yes, diluting it is a common suggestion. Mixing maybe half a cup of celery juice with apple or cucumber juice can mask that strong flavor while still getting some benefits.
Other additions.
Adding a teaspoon of honey and a squeeze of lemon is another option mentioned to make the taste more balanced.
And any recommended amount or timing?
The source suggests drinking it on an empty stomach might be better for absorption. A standard serving is listed as maybe 200 to 300 milliliters daily.
Start slow, though.
Yes, if you're new to it, start with perhaps 100 milliliters and increase gradually.
I saw a crucial warning in the notes for celery juice as well.
Yes, very important. Celery contains vitamin K.
Which affects blood clotting.
Exactly. So the source strongly advises, if you are taking blood thinners, you must talk to your doctor before regularly drinking celery juice. Non-negotiable.
Good to flag. Okay, coming in at number 2 is cucumber juice. What's the emphasis here in the source?
It's all about the incredibly high water content. Cucumbers are apparently 96% water.
Wow, that's almost entirely water.
Pretty much. And the source notes this is deeply important because, as we've said, dehydration accelerates kidney damage. It speeds up that path towards dialysis.
So cucumber juice is presented as a natural way to fight dehydration.
Yes, to counter it. Hydrating cells, supporting kidney filtration, even if the kidneys are already compromised.
So it's mainly about powerful hydration.
Hydration is definitely key, but the source also mentions it's packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants too.
Which do what?
They're said to help flush out toxins and protect cells. The notes use an analogy, describing cucumber juice acting like a gentle broom.
Sweeping waste out.
Sweeping waste from your body before it can cause more damage to the kidneys. That's the idea presented.
Does the source mention any specific benefits related to kidney stones for cucumber juice?
Yes, it does. The source suggests that the water content and natural compounds might help dissolve existing stones and also reduce the risk of new ones forming.
Again, potentially helping avoid that progression to kidney failure.
That's the implication. The source also notes that cucumber seeds might have a cooling effect and could help prevent constipation.
Which helps the digestive system and indirectly supports the kidneys.
Exactly. Take some load off.
How is cucumber juice typically made or enjoyed, according to the source?
Super easy. Wash 1 or 2 medium cucumbers. Keep the skin on if they're organic.
Because that's where nutrients are.
A lot of them are said to be there, yes. Then just chop and blend with minimal water.
Flavor additions.
You can add ginger, mint, or lemon. If it tastes too bland, mixing it with apple or some berries adds natural sweetness.
Any specific blends mentioned?
There's one mentioned, cucumber, lime, and cilantro, described as a refreshing, kidney-supportive option.
What about dialysis patients and cucumber juice, considering their fluid limits?
This is where the source suggests it's particularly well suited.
Why?
Because its high water content combined with a relatively low mineral profile makes it potentially safer than many other drinks for patients with those strict fluid limits.
So it hydrates efficiently without overloading electrolytes.
Exactly. Without adding too much of the stuff that dialysis needs to remove, the source describes it as light and easy on digestion too.
Any storage tips mentioned?
Yes, store it in a glass container in the fridge. Yeah. And try to consume it within 24 hours.
Nutrients degrade quickly.
That's what the source notes, yes. Fresh is always best. Oh, and an excellent tip mentioned for hot weather or just consistent hydration.
Go on.
Freeze extra juice in ice cube trays. Then you can just add those cucumber ice cubes to your plain water throughout the day.
That's clever. Okay, finally, we've reached number 1 on the list from the source material. Pineapple juice. What makes this one stand out?
The source highlights a pretty unique compound in pineapple juice called bromelain.
Bromelain. I've heard of that.
Right. It's found in the fruit, the stem, the root. The source notes that chefs might use it to tenderize meat.
But its work inside the body is described as much more valuable.
That's the claim, yes.
Yeah.
Far more valuable.
What kind of work?
Bromelain is strongly linked in the source to reducing inflammation, easing pain, supporting heart health, and even boosting immunity.
And how does that relate to kidneys and dialysis?
Well, the source notes that all these benefits can potentially protect kidney function and help avoid dialysis, chronic inflammation especially.
Is a big problem for dialysis patients.
Yes, it's cited as a common enemy. It apparently worsens outcomes and can accelerate the progression of the disease.
So bromelain directly targets inflammation.
Yes, the source describes it as selectively targeting inflammatory compounds, soothing kidney tissue, promoting wellness naturally.
And potentially avoiding side effects from anti-inflammatory drugs.
That's suggested. The source references clinical studies that apparently confirm bromelain's effectiveness in managing pain and inflammation.
Beyond bromelain, are there other benefits of pineapple mentioned in the source?
Yes, the source notes it provides vitamin C, manganese, and fiber, and crucially for kidney health.
Let me guess. Potassium.
Lower potassium levels. Compared to many other fruits, yes.
Which is key as kidney function declines.
Absolutely. Potassium regulation becomes really difficult. So pineapple is presented as a way to get vital nutrition without excessive potassium, making it potentially well-suited for compromised kidneys.
How should someone use pineapple juice based on the source notes?
Best way is fresh juice. Blend chunks of a ripe pineapple, maybe 2 cups worth from a medium one, adding a little water if needed.
Additions.
Ginger or mint are suggested for enhanced benefits. The ideal serving size is listed as around 4 to 6 ounces daily. That's about 120 to 180 milliliters.
When to drink it?
Perhaps in the morning or midday.
What if someone's concerned about the sugar content in pineapple?
The source suggests diluting it with water or maybe cucumber juice.
Any other ideas?
Blending frozen pineapple chunks with coconut water is mentioned as a sort of tropical, kidney-supporting smoothie option.
Okay.
And another blend cited as potentially powerful against inflammation combines pineapple juice with lime and turmeric.
So these variations help tailor it while keeping the benefits.
That's the idea presented in the source, yes, addressing individual needs.
Are there any specific cautions mentioned for pineapple or bromelain?
Just one notable caution highlighted in the source. Excessive bromelain can slightly thin the blood.
So if you're taking anticoagulants
or preparing for surgery, the source strongly advises consult your healthcare provider first. Definitely check before making it a regular thing.
Right. Now, while exploring all these potentially supportive drinks, the source material also includes a really important section on precautions, especially regarding so-called kidney cleanses.
Yes, this seemed critical. What does the source emphasize here?
It's very clear. While the idea of a kidney detox might sound appealing, the source strongly advises proceeding with extreme caution.
Why? What's the risk?
The source warns that the wrong approach, the wrong kind of cleanse, could actually speed up the journey towards dialysis.
Really? Accelerate it.
That's the warning given. The source states that solid scientific evidence for radical kidney detoxes is pretty scarce.
But more importantly, while maybe a cleanse is okay for healthy kidneys, the source warns it poses serious risks for kidneys that are already compromised.
What kind of risks?
They mention specific protocols like certain ball cleanses that can cause severe hyperphosphatemia.
Dangerously high phosphate levels in the blood.
Exactly. Especially for those whose kidneys aren't filtering properly. The source stresses this can actually be life-threatening.
So aggressive measures are definitely risky. What about other types of cleansing mentioned in the source?
It highlights other extreme measures too. Things like prolonged fasting or severe calorie restriction.
What are the dangers there?
Well, headaches, fatigue, dizziness, sure. But more seriously, they can lead to electrolyte imbalances and dehydration.
And those aren't just minor side effects for stressed kidneys, are they?
No, the source presents them as direct threats to kidneys that are already struggling.
So what's the bottom line guidance from the source material about trying any kind of cleanse?
It's absolutely unequivocal. Before you attempt any kidney cleanse, you must consult your healthcare provider. It's presented as completely non-negotiable.
Because your doctor understands your specific health situation and risks.
Exactly. Whether you're vulnerable to electrolyte shifts, dehydration, whatever it is, professional guidance is essential for safety, according to the source.
So, instead of potentially risky drastic measures, what do the sources recommend for supporting kidneys, especially if you already have kidney disease?
The source suggests focusing on established, evidence-based kidney protective diets.
Like what?
The renal diet is mentioned specifically. It limits nutrients like protein, sodium, potassium, phosphorus.
Because those build up when kidneys can't filter well.
Right. Another option highlighted is the DASH diet.
Dietary approaches to stop hypertension.
That's the one. It emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins while limiting sodium. The source notes that the National Kidney Foundation actually recommends DASH to help slow down kidney disease progression.
So the principle highlighted in the source is really about moderation and consistency, not extremism or quick fixes.
Exactly that. Gentle, consistent support is emphasized over any kind of aggressive cleansing. The source notes that with proper hydration and balanced nutrition, you can potentially nurture kidney function without risking harm.
And for listeners who are already on dialysis, the source is very specific, isn't it?
Extremely specific. While these drinks we've discussed might still offer some support,
The portions, the timing,
the specific ingredients, everything must be carefully aligned with their individual treatment plan.
no guesswork.
Absolutely not. The source strongly advises never making significant dietary changes without talking to your nephrology team first, your kidney doctor and dietitian.
Okay, so to kind of recap our deep dive mission today, we've explored natural ways that the source material suggests might support kidney function, based purely on those sources you provided.
Right. We looked at potential support from apple juice, flushing toxins, maybe stone prevention, cranberry juice for fighting UTIs, possibly helping blood pressure.
Beet juice, with its powerful effect on blood pressure mentioned in the source. Lemon and lime juices as key potential stone fighters, according to the notes.
Then celery and cucumber for that crucial hydration and gentle support. And finally, pineapple juice, tackling inflammation and offering that beneficial lower potassium profile.
But, and this is the huge takeaway underlined throughout the source material, while these drinks might support kidney health, they absolutely do not replace medical care.
Cannot stress that enough. Working closely with healthcare professionals is critically important, especially if you have any existing kidney concerns or if you're on dialysis.
What really stands out, I think, from digging into the source material is that these aren't presented as complicated protocols or those drastic cleanses we talked about.
No, not at all. They're often framed as relatively simple, consistent habits.
Like starting your morning with lemon water, maybe having cranberry juice with lunch, sipping cucumber water during the day.
Or having a small beet juice before dinner, perhaps? They're described in the source as offering gentle, ongoing support to these organs that, well, they never really get a break, do they?
They really don't. So maybe the final thought to leave with everyone, drawing from the source material itself, considering how silently kidney function can decline, as the source highlights.
And considering the potential risks of those drastic cleansing measures that the source also warns about.
How might embracing these gentle, consistent daily habits, always guided by professional medical advice, of course, how might that be the most powerful, proactive step you can take right now in supporting your own kidney health?